قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Zad, coming to you Sunday afternoon. And we have a number of questions pending. We will take 3 questions from the emails, and then we will take your direct phone calls. Sarah says, is the biological father of an illegitimate girl mahram for her? Must she cover herself in front of him, not travel with him, and not be alone with him, as if he is a stranger? What about an illegitimate son and his biological mother? As for your question, Sarah, the whole incident is summarized by the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in a long story where he said, Al-waladu lil-firash, the born child belongs to the owner of the bed, which means that if the woman was married, then the owner of the bed is the husband. So the illegitimate child belongs by default to her husband. This is the default. وَلِلْعَاهِرِ الْحَجَرِ, and to the fornicator, the man who is allegedly the biological father, gets nothing except a stone, meaning nothing. He has nothing to do with the illegitimate child, even if he claims the child and says it's mine. So from this hadith and other evidences, scholars said that if a man fornicated with a woman and she does not have a husband, so she's a single lady, and she conceived and she gave birth to a child, and assuming that the child was a girl, the man is not the father of the girl because it was born out of wedlock, which means that he does not have any responsibilities towards her. She has no responsibilities towards him. His siblings are not her uncles and aunts. His children from a legitimate marriage are not her siblings because there is no relationship, there is no bond between him and her. You may make a DNA test. This doesn't change a thing because this is related to an Islamic ruling, which is whether the marriage was legitimately Islamic or not. Hence, there was no marriage, then there is no relationship between them. Now, having said that, this does not mean that his legitimate son can marry her, because of this incident is in a gray area. And in the story that I told you about, which is long, I could not say it here, the Prophet ﷺ said to Abd ibn Zam'ah, who was claiming his brother, against Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, who said to the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with him, that his brother fornicated and claimed to be the father of that child, who Abd claims is my brother. He was born in my house and my father was alive, and all of the evidences show that he is my brother. When the Prophet ﷺ said the hadith, he deprived Sa'd's brother from his right in that child. He says, no, you have nothing to do with the child. And he called the child after Abd ibn Zam'a's father. He's his brother. But when the Prophet saw the resemblance of the child to Sa'd's brother, the one who fornicated, the fornicator, he said to his wife, Saudah bin Zam'a, who this child is now legally her brother. His name is exactly like her name, the same father, Zam'a. So the Prophet said to his wife, Saudah, wear the hijab from him. Though he's your brother, technically speaking, but you should not display yourself to him as you do to your brothers and to your mahrams. So from this hadith, we understand that the biological father has no rights over his daughter that was born out of wedlock, no responsibilities, but at the same time, this doesn't mean he can marry her. Now, having said that, it is highly recommended that he's kind to her, that he supports her, that he provides for her, but this is out of kindness, not out of Islamic ruling. As for her second part of the question, what about if an illegitimate son and his biological mother? I think that this is a no-brainer because she is his mother. She's the one who gave birth to him. Whether he was conceived out of wedlock or a legitimate marriage doesn't make any difference because she is the one who gave birth to him, so he is her son. Suha says, how should we do tayammum at home, as mostly nowadays people live in flats and we do not have soil available and our walls and furniture don't have dust on it? The most authentic opinion is that you can perform wudu on anything that is made of earth, clay, soil, sand, pebbles, rocks, mud, dry mud, and what is made out of it. So if you have a wall with concrete or the likes, then you can make tayammum on it. If not, if the wall is painted with paint, and the paint is not from earth, or the likes, or like drapes or like furniture, if it has dust in it, so if you do this, you can have some dust coming out of it, you can make wudu with that, because dust is from earth. But if it doesn't have dust, it's clean, and it has nothing on it, then you have to go outside and look for some soil, some dirt, some sand in the park or nearby, and you can do tayammum with that, inshallah. Zainab says, and this is the last question, I think, does Islam believe in feminism and equality between the genders? This is a very generic question because in order to answer it, you have to define what do you mean by feminism. If it is simply demanding the rights that Islam has allocated to women, such as in some cultures, they deprive women from the rights of inheritance. In some cultures, they get a woman married against her will. So feminism here demands these rights. Yeah, this is acceptable, but generally speaking, nobody thinks of it this way. Feminism usually is either liberal or extreme. They go to demands of equality. So they would come to Islam and scrap out half of it because it's not logical. Why does a daughter inherits half the son's wealth when the father dies? Why does she get half of it? Why is the blood money, when a murder takes place by mistake or intentionally, is half of a male's blood money? Why doesn't she lead the prayer, give sermons, Why can't she be a ruler? Why can't she be a judge? Why can't she mix with men? This is all not related to Islam. And anyone calling for such things may risk getting out of the fold of Islam. Allah Azza wa Jal, when it comes to equality, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى. Male is not like a female. So there's no equality. And whenever women want equality, then they should conceive 1 year and the following year let their husbands conceive. When they they want equality, they should oppose a man marrying more than one wife, which is mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah. That would be totally blasphemous. Yeah, you would have exited the fold of Islam 100%. Therefore, this concept of feminism is totally against Islam. And unfortunately, some speakers, women who are Muslims, they address men, they speak to men without any shame, without any bashfulness, and never the companion females, the mother of the believers, have done such a heinous thing. But unfortunately, it's the culture, it's the system, it's when you see something everywhere, you become brainwashed and you fall into such a mistake. May Allah Azza wa Jal preserve the Muslim Ummah. So we will begin taking your questions, inshallah. We have Afia from India.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is, a sister is asking my friend to lend her some amount of money in dirham so that she will be returning that money in Indian rupees. In actual currency exchange service, it costs, for example, 1 dirham is approximately 20 rupees. But the sister is saying she will be giving 22 rupees per dirham. Is this come under riba? Kindly explain, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Wa jazakum. We have Ishaq from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, can men shave or trim the hair that's below the lower lip and above the chin, or if it's considered to be a part of the beard?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Latifa from the US. Latifa from the US. Kamil from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum wa barakatuh.
What is the status of the properties bought through not permissible means, and these properties were acquired when we ignorant?
You have to give examples, Kamil. I cannot answer generic questions. Property
Right,
bought from haram means such as what?
Such as our houses, our car, our motorcycle. Through
What is the haram means?
This the loan involved with the riba-based transaction.
Okay. What's the second question?
No, these properties were acquired when we ignorant. Now we realize this one not permissible.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Mahdi from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum.
Sheikh, sometimes I watch YouTube videos about cars and food which contain background music. Now I know that they're haram, and inshallah I will leave them, Sheikh. So Sheikh, my question is that can I do dhikr while watching these videos?
Okay, I will answer, inshallah. Mahfoudin from Indonesia. Mahfoud.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Sheikh. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding practice done by most of the Muslims here. They say that when we go through a graveyard, we must say the greeting, Assalamu alaikum ya ahli kubur. So is this practice authentic, and is it from the Sunnah, or is it fabrication?
Ta'adu masala. Inshallah, I will answer you. Mukhtar from Nigeria.
السلام عليكم يا شيخ.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Yes, Mukhtar.
Okay, now, please, I would like to know, is it permissible or would a person be rewarded for the sadaqah that is given by a non-Muslim on his behalf? So, for example, if a woman has a child and she passes away, but the child is kafir and he gives something as a waqf on behalf of the mother, would she be rewarded for that?
Okay. I will answer, inshallah. Shihab from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Sheikh, if I join the last rakah in a 4 rakah congregation prayer, so after the Imam concludes the prayer, I have to stand up and sit in the second rakah. But when I will recite recite another surah with Fatiha.
Okay. I will answer, inshallah. Faizan from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
I am well, alhamdulillah. What can I do for you?
May Allah keep you steadfast in Islam. Sheikh, my brother had a question. He says, Dear Sheikh, I read from a publication that says I cannot reproduce its content in any way, like in digital form or in any way. However, I take notes from it and sometimes copy a text from it by typing it down that I wish to share with people so they benefit, like the statement of a scholar, etc. Is it permissible to share in such a manner after typing small parts of the text down separately? Jazakallahu khairan.
Wa jazak. Ismail from the US.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hayyakallah, ya Sheikh.
Barakallah feek.
Ya Sheikh, one question. If a man has long hair, can he put his hair in a ponytail?
Okay.
Jazak.
Wa jazak. And we have Labib from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Sheikh, yesterday I asked you a question about there is a Sheikh asking there is no permission to hear the recitation of an innovator. So I want to clear it a bit about, may Allah bless you and me, is that he said that Ibn Sirin have said that it is not permissible to listen to the recitation of the Quran of an innovator. The reason that this Da'i is saying that because you may fall in love with that innovator, and falling in love with the innovator and respecting him, that means that you are going against the Prophet ﷺ. So he is saying that let alone listening to the lectures of them, it is not even permissible to listen to the recitation of them, for you may fall in love with them. So please clarify.
Okay, I will answer, inshallah. We have Rahmatullah from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, Sheikh, I have a question that, I suffer from constant research and waswas. So the thing is that it occurs in all types of muscles, all kinds of muscles, like salah, wudu, then taharat, in all of this. So I was asking that I make a constant effort to repel these thoughts, but keeps coming, and it kind of making things difficult for me, and I can't, concentrate on my work or studies and anything, and making it very difficult for me to concentrate on the things. And
okay.
So
I will answer you, inshallah. Leiden from Macedonia. Leiden?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
Can you advise me on how to eat less, because I'm not fat, but I often exaggerate in eating?
How much do you weigh?
I'm normal weight. I don't weigh less nor more, but I exaggerate in eating.
Okay, I will inshallah. Kulama from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, he's playing around. The following caller, please. Parents should know how to restrict their children from playing around with serious programs. Mehwish from the US.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I wanted to know, what is the punishment for rape, and is the victim required to forgive their oppressor? Jazakumullahu khairan.
Wa jazakum. And Muhammad from the Philippines.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Hi, Sheikh.
Alhamdulillah, Akhi Muhammad. Yes, sir.
My question, Sheikh, is, Sheikh, I have this anxiety and fear of death, Sheikh, and it's getting worse, Sheikh. And I'm even afraid, Sheikh, to go to the masjid, Sheikh, because I always think about death, Sheikh. And I'm always depressed, Sheikh. And can you advise me, Sheikh, how to cope up with this?
Now, I could not hear from your question except Sheikh, Sheikh, Sheikh. So speak slowly, please. You're afraid from going to the masjid?
Sheikh, my question, Sheikh, is I have this anxiety, Sheikh, of fear of death, Sheikh. And
fear of death. Okay. And how long you had this?
It's new, Sheikh. I don't know. It's been 2 weeks.
Okay. Did you die?
No, Sheikh.
So yeah, it shows you that your fear is unrealistic. I have patients that come and talk to me. They have the fear of death for the past 3 years, and it's crippling them. They're not able to do anything. Are you dead? No. So what? This is whispers from Shaitan. Anyhow, I will tackle this, inshallah, if there is time. Mu'izz from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is regarding applying black dye. There's one hadith in Sunan Ibn Majah, which is da'if, and Rasulullah says in that the best thing which you can dye your hair with is black. It makes your women desire and create fear in the hearts of enemies. But there's one more hadith which is sahih, where Rasulullah said in Sunan An-Nasai that some people will dye their hair black like the breasts of pigeons at the end of time, but they will not even smell the fragrance of paradise. So Sheikh, so these hadiths are contradicting one another. So is it permissible to apply black color on your hair?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Naeem from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shaykh, I work at a university, so where there are 2 publications are required for promotion. So can I publish them in predatory journals, which will accept money and publish whatever you put to them? In that case, will my income be halal?
Okay, I will answer, inshallah. And we have Wajih from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So Sheikh, I wanted to ask, is it permissible to eat something like cheese or vegetarian pizza from pizza stores where they use the same oven, but that same oven was also used to bake pizza that had pepperoni or other haram meat on it? Barakallahu feek.
Mubaraka feekum. And we have Abdul Aziz from the UK.
Yes, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing well, alhamdulillah. What can I do for you, Akhi?
Alhamdulillah, Sheikh. Alhamdulillah. So, Sheikh, my question is regarding the dua to be recited after the adhan. And so, as you can see from my profile and stuff, like so I'm from the UK, and here in the West, our massages cannot give off loud adhans. So I'm unsure when the call to prayer actually ends, and the precise time or when I can begin reciting the dua for the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my question here today is is my dua valid if I just recite it as soon as I receive that notification from my phone?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Adib from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam rahmatullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. What can I do for you?
Sheikh, my question is regarding a dream. Like I saw a dream.
I don't have any knowledge in dream interpretation, Adib. Anything related to halal, haram, I may help and I may not. But dreams, I have no knowledge of it. So I'm afraid I'm not the right person to interpret it. But generally speaking, if the dreams, when you woke up, you were saddened or frightened, this is from shaitan definitely. If it's good and pleasing, then you should only tell it to those who love you, so that when they interpret it to you, it would be good interpretation. I hope this answers you, inshallah. Sadman from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamatullah.
My question is, can I pray separately in the masjid while the congregation is going on, or just before the congregation starts if I have an important class to do in the Maghrib?
Okay, I will answer, inshallah. Okay, I will answer the question, inshallah, without taking a break. And we hope that we can accommodate all of them in today's episode. Afia from India. She says that a person borrowed in dirhams, Emirati dirhams, and wants to return it in Indian rupee. If this is precondition, this is not permissible. They have to return it in the same currency. But if I borrowed 10,000 rupees from a friend, and 2 years later I want to pay the brother his 2,000 rupees, should I pay them in rupees according to the prices 2 years ago, to the rate 2 years ago? No, this is totally haram riba. If I borrowed any amount of money in one currency and I would like to return it after 6 months, a year, 5 years, it has to be in the same currency, which is Emirati dirham. Or the other option is to look at these after 5 years, when the payment is due today. My loan was 5 years ago. Today I'm going to pay it back. Today I have to see the exchange rate of 10,000 Emirati dirhams and give it in rupees according to today's exchange rate. This is the only way that it can be done. Ishaq says, what's the ruling on what is known as al-afannaqa? This is this area, this hair that is under the lower lip and above the chin. What's the ruling on it? Is it part of the beard? The most authentic opinion is that it is not part of the beard, and it can be shortened or shaved if one wants to. And if you want to be safe rather than sorry, just leave it. Kamil from Saudi Arabia, he says, we bought many properties when we were ignorant. Cars, on loans. Now we know that it is haram. What should we do? What is past is past. When you were ignorant, Allah will not hold you accountable. And this is from Allah's mercy. So it's gone. As long as you have paid for it in full, it's yours. You can use it, you can sell it, you can benefit from it without any problem, inshallah. Mahdi from Bangladesh, he says, sometimes I watch music, well, not music, beneficial videos about cars, about mobile phones, and there is background music. So if I make dhikr, would I be sinful? This depends. If making dhikr while knowing that there is a sin going on and you are caring less about the sin of Allah, so you're listening to the sin and making dhikr, this is disrespectful to Allah. But if you're forced, like if I go to a mall and the music is blowing everywhere and I have to go to the mall, so what do? I either listen to the Quran or I make dhikr so that I would take my mind off what is being played. So this is okay, this is halal, there's no problem in that. But as long as you know it's sinful, then you should not do this. This is something that you must avoid and stay away from. So, Mahfoud from Indonesia, he says, what's the ruling on giving salam to the people in a cemetery? This is an authentic sunnah. Whenever the Prophet ﷺ used to enter a cemetery, he used to say, Assalamu alaikum dara qawmin mu'mineen, antum as-sabiquna wa nahnu al-lahiqun, nas'alullah lana wa lakum al-afiyah. So such dhikr is part of the sunnah without any problem. So whenever you pass by a cemetery of Muslims, you should make dua for them, you should give salam to them, and this fills their graves, insha'Allah, with light. Mukhtar from Nigeria, can the charity of a kafir be accepted when he does this on behalf of a Muslim? Well, this has two folds. First of all, a disbeliever, whatever good he does, he's not rewarded for that. And this reward is definitely not coming his way on the Day of Judgment. So it would not benefit him. He may benefit from it in this life. So his health, his wealth, his food, his drinks, whatever good things happening to him, this is a result from whatever good he did in this life. But when he dies, it's hell for eternity. It's not going to benefit him. Now, the evidence, وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. And we, that is Allah Azza wa Jal, would make whatever good they had done into dust. Now, if he does this on behalf of a deceased Muslim, so in this life, people benefited from this endowment. He made a building and the revenue would be given to the poor, so the poor are eating, the needy they're getting their stuff fulfilled. All of this is happening. In this case, he, the kafir, would not benefit from it, but the deceased would benefit from it, insha'Allahu Azza wa Jal. Shihab from Bangladesh, she says, I offered the last fourth rak'ah with the Imam. And when the Imam offered salam, I stood up and I was praying my second rak'ah. So I recited the surah, the Fatiha. Should I recite the surah afterwards? The answer is up to you. The general misconception that people have, they think that reciting a surah after the Fatiha is mandatory, which is not. So if I read the 4 rak'ahs of Dhuhr, and I only recite Fatiha in the 4 rak'ahs, nothing else, my prayer is valid. And there's nothing wrong in what I have done. It's less in reward because I skipped a sunnah. But it's a sunnah at the end of the day. So generally speaking, according to what you believe, Shihab, you should recite a surah after Fatiha in your second rak'ah, because the rak'ah you prayed with the Imam, it was the Imam's 4th rak'ah, but it was your first. So when he offers salam, you pray your second, which we recite surah after Fatiha. Your third and fourth, only the Fatiha, and Allah knows best. Faizan, he says some publications have this disclaimer that all articles are not to be reproduced, not to be copied, not to be shared, not to be... Why wouldn't they put also not to be read? This is not logical. I bought the magazine or the book with my own money. So if I would like to share a whatever, part of it online, or photocopy it and give it to a friend, or use it in my speech, do you think that all my lectures and speeches are from thin air? I'm making them. I have to do a lot of research and collect from here and there, and there's nothing wrong in that. So you have no problem. What they meant by this disclaimer usually is that they would like you to not benefit, not to make business out of it. So they don't want it to be used commercially. But if it was for private use or to benefit a friend or relative or a neighbor, there's no problem in that. Ismail from the US, what's the ruling on having long hair and a ponytail? We've answered these questions numerous times. And we said that growing the hair for men and having long hair, it's a cultural thing. So if you are in some tribes in the deserts or the Bedouins, or you are in some place in Jamaica, for example, or the Bahamas or whatever, the Caribbeans, where men is normal for all of them to have long hair and dreadlocks even. There's no problem because this is the norm. But when you have long hair in an area or a culture or community where they consider this to be not manly, they consider this to be sort of feminist, and most Arab countries do this. So here in Arabia, when we see a man growing his hair long, wearing I don't know what they call it on their hair, or putting it as in a ponytail, we say that this is probably either gay or imitating the disbelievers. He's imitating an actor, a wrestler, or a singer. And all of this is haram and a major sin. So it depends on the culture. If everybody considers it to be normal, there's no problem in doing that. The companions used to do that, but they all used to do that with long beards and with real men inside out. But what we see from the youth nowadays and from some of the men who do this, wearing bracelets, wearing chains, and bling blings, and all of this is not permissible due to the fact that they're imitating the disbelievers, and Allah knows best. But Labib from Bangladesh was clarifying what he had asked about yesterday in regards to a scholar in his country who said and quoted that Ibn Sirin said that it is not permissible to listen to the Quran from an innovator because, and he gave the justification that you may fall in love or you may respect this innovator. All of this is bogus. I don't know if Ibn Sirin had said this to begin with. And as I said earlier, that we need to verify each and every piece of information that comes to us, whether it's authentic or not. Maybe Ibn Sirin never said such a thing. So just because a scholar said, Ibn Sirin said, I can spend all day long saying, Al-Hasan al-Basri said, Al-Hasan al-Basri said, and nobody is checking after me to see whether it is authentic or not. So first of all, we have to see whether it's authentic or not. Secondly, Ibn Sirin is not a companion, is not a messenger of Allah. He's a normal person with great respect and knowledge. So we respect him, but we cannot take whatever he says as a revelation from the Quran or the Sunnah. This is his opinion, and he's entitled to his opinion, but there are many other scholars who say that there is nothing wrong in listening and learning from people of innovation if they are experts in their fields and it has nothing to do with their innovation or aqeedah. And this is why you would find some of the narrators of the hadith to be people of innovation. Yet the scholars like Bukhari, Muslim, and Ahmad bin Hanbal, etc., accepted their narration because it was not supporting their innovation and they were not known to be liars. So we have to be fair and we have to have an open mind when we hear such things. Some of the brothers, the moment they hear a quote here or there, they abide by it, and this is not a problem. The problem is in the consequences that follow. You should be smart. You should look at the bigger picture. You should look who shared this with that person and who did not. Rahmatullah from India, he has whispers and he cannot concentrate. Akhi, this is a long subject. It needs a counseling session. I cannot give it to you here because I would have to speak for about maybe 8 to 15 minutes and to explain to you how shaitan messes up with your head. Now you cannot concentrate. Who's causing this? Waswas, Sheikh. Who's causing the waswas? Shaitan, Sheikh. I cannot think. Wait. What did Allah tell you about shaitan? Allah told you in the Quran that he's your enemy, so take him as an enemy. Allah told you that he intimidates you with his soldiers, so don't fear them and fear Allah. Allah told you that he depresses the believers with private and secret conversations. And Allah told you that he does all of this so that you can be with him in hellfire, to be among his party. So are you believing Allah Azza wa Jal? Of course, Shaykh, I believe Allah. Then why are you listening to shaitan? Because Shaykh, I cannot help it. Then excuse me. Who's opening the door for shaitan, inviting him in? You are. You're not following the sunnah in wudu by repeating it, by excessive use of water, by knowing certainty is there, which I washed my arm, but shaitan is telling me, maybe you missed something. Maybe it's doubtful. Doubt cannot impact certainty. Throw it in the dustbin. Yes, Sheikh, I know, but you are the one who want people to feel pity over you, to feel sorry over you. Oh, the poor thing. He's sick. He has whispers. He has OCD. If you don't stand up and man up and fight, it will destroy not only your prayer and your wudu, it will destroy your whole life. You have to seek help from Allah in your sujood, because he is, that is shaitan, corrupting your heart and your mind and playing with you like children play with a football. But this is in your hands. Laden from Macedonia, he has normal weight, but he's afraid of excessive eating and being a spendthrift. So he says what to do. Akhi, as long as it is halal food, eat and have no worries. However, you should eat before the limit of being lazy and hibernating. So the Prophet gave us the remedy, and he says, 1/3 for your food, 1/3 for your drink, and 1/3 for breathing, which is moderation. I don't have it in liters. It differs from one person to the other. But the point is that you don't eat and drink until you are stuffed and can't stand up, can't pray, can't move, and you need to hibernate for about a month or two until you digest. No, this is haram. But enjoying food and eating without being stuffed is no problem. Don't let shaitan mess up with your head. Mehwash says, what is the punishment for rape? And is it recommended that we forgive the rapist? I'll start from the second part of the question. No, it's not recommended to forgive the rapist. He's an oppressor. He has committed a heinous sin, and forgiveness cannot be recommended unless there is a benefit from it, or that the consequence of it would be positive. If someone is used to abusing his teachers at school, and this happens a lot, and he had beaten one of the teachers, all the family, relatives go to the teacher, oh, he's a kid, he's just a teenage, forgive him. And he knows that if he forgives him, he's going to next week beat another teacher. And he's going to break the windows of a third teacher. This person is not to be forgiven. He has to pay for it. But if it is a mistake from a person who is not known to do mistakes, yes, and it's not as big as this mistake, because rape is not a mistake. It's something that is done, it's premeditated, it has a long process, and it shows the evil in that person. What's the punishment? This is up to the Muslim judge to decide. Technically speaking, if the perpetrator was not married, this is considered to be fornication. Forced fornication is worse than consensual fornication. And if it's forced with life-threatening situations, like under the threat of a weapon of killing, then this becomes closer to hiraba. An execution is due. But if it was not any of those, it was only a forced fornication, this is punished as fornication, which is flogging 100 lashes if he's unmarried. And if there are no other circumstances that would increase, the judge can put him, in addition to that, like 5 years in jail, whatever the judge sees. And if it was under the threat of death or killing, it can be execution. If he was married or previously married or widowed or divorced, then the punishment is execution on the spot by stoning, and this is the adulterer's punishment in Islam. Muhammad from the Philippines, he's afraid of death. Again, I've answered this, so don't be afraid, akhi. Trust Allah and depend on Him, and don't open your head to shaitan. Mu'izz said about the contradiction of two hadiths concerning dying with black. Akhi, you yourself said that the first hadith is weak. So if it's weak, just get rid of it. You don't even look at it. The other hadith, the second hadith, is totally authentic. And this is the punishment for those who die in black, that they will not find the fragrance of Jannah. Naeem from Bangladesh, he says, the university wants us to publish 2 articles a year to get a promotion. And I know that there are publications that would charge me money if I give them my article, and they will publish it. So can I do that? If it's legal in your country, if it's a normal practice and the university accepts it, it seems that this is permissible. Wajih from Canada says, can I eat vegetarian food that is being cooked in the same stoves or using the same utensils in restaurants that serve pork and haram meat? The answer is no. If the utensils are the same, you cannot eat there. But if it's only the stove or the oven, there's no problem in that. Abdul Aziz from the UK, how does one say the dua after the adhan if there is no masjid near to him? You can't, except in one case, that you call the adhan yourself. So once the alarm is off for the adhan, you give the adhan in your home and then you say the dua afterwards. Adib says, can we pray in the masjid before the congregation if I have a class? This is possible, but not during the congregation. Because if you come before the congregation and pray on your own and leave before the congregation, that would be accepted. But if you're praying during the congregation, everybody looking at you would say that you are a Rafidi, not from Ahl Sunnah, or there's something wrong with your mind. And generally speaking, if you're unable to pray with the congregation, pray at work or pray at the school or pray at home. Don't show them that you are not interested in praying with the congregation like this, because nobody would understand that you have a class afterwards, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next Saturday between Maghrib and Isha, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.